Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is our July Siouxland Small Business Soiree, and I am pleased that you all can be here tonight. And tonight I have my wonderful friend Susan Erickson, who's going to talk to us. Her business is Susan Erickson Coaching Incorporated, and we've done some other fun things together too. It was Tuesday night, wasn't it, Susan? We were able to get together
Yes.
and do Wine, Women, and Wealth.
Mhm.
And let's see, I'm also going to do speaker view here. So as you're talking, that you're on the big picture. So
Great.
Susan, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Great. Well, thank you, Sherry, so much for inviting me here tonight. It's so nice to meet you, other ladies as well. And as Sherry said, I am a certified life coach, and I do one-on-one coaching. I do some retreats here and there. In the last few months, a little more as well. So I also host my is just a group of women together around mindsets for each other around mindset. And so, to talk a little bit, I'm really excited to jump finance as well, but also to maybe go and talk a little bit more about money mindset. Because money is one of those things that we really don't talk about much, right? It's kind of like taboo. We don't talk about it in our family. We don't talk about how much we make. At work, you're never supposed to tell somebody else how much money you make. You know, that's a taboo thing. And we often don't talk about it much with our kids or with our parents even. And so when things like with parents, as we get towards end of life decisions, oftentimes there hasn't been any of that conversation about money either. What do you want done with it? How much, how much do I need to save for that for you, or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of information or money that we just don't talk about. It's one of those subjects like, it's like sex. We don't talk about that. It's off limits to us, right? At least as a nice woman, you don't talk about it in society. So it also comes up then that we have some beliefs that we've had since our childhood, probably. Can you guys think of any that maybe you grew up with that were maybe limiting beliefs? Is that you heard? Maybe you don't even realize that you picked them up, but they're things that all your life you sort of believed about money. Any
I'll go
thoughts about
ahead and
that?
start.
Yeah.
I grew up on a farm, and my hard work, extreme work ethic, and savings were really important.
Right.
So like any birthday presents, anything I ever got that was monetary, it always went into savings for college. I never touched it. And so to this day, I have, I believe, a really hard work ethic. And it's like, I've got to have savings. I've got to make sure, even if I go out shopping, is it on sale? Am I getting, but it's hard because my children don't necessarily have that mindset. My older children do. I have 7 children, but my younger children, it's been really, really hard to instill that into them.
Yeah, that's interesting. And a hard work ethic, that's kind of what Midwesterners, what we're known for, right? I mean, throughout the rest of the country, we here in the Midwest are really known for our work ethic. And that has positive and negative sides to it, right? Because sometimes we then don't bring in the self-care piece of that, right? We're always focused on our work, and we don't do enough self-care, and we don't do the fun things in life, and we also teach our children the same things, right? So some of that flows down to them as well. And their savings is absolutely a good thing, right? But sometimes it goes to the extreme, like we save and we're not allowing ourselves to have some fun with life, and to have some also to maybe do some contributions to other things in life that we might want to do. So anything, of course, carried to an extreme is not going to be in our best interest. And it's also, again, going to filter down to our children, maybe things that we don't want to filter down. So yeah, hard work ethic, and I have to work really hard to have money. We sometimes believe that to be true, right?
Yeah.
I can't make money if I don't work really hard. Well, is that really true?
No.
Okay. So why would you say that, Sherry?
Well, I mean, I just think about like with my business,
Mhm.
you know, I don't think of what I do as working hard. I mean, it's really relationship based. And then
Uh-huh.
particularly for like a new consultant coming in, if they would have a team member join their team, um, I'm the one that takes care of that new person. That's why, you know, the company reimburses me or pays me a higher commission. And
Mhm.
so they can continue doing what they're doing. I take care of orienting that person and helping the new person build their business. But the person who brought them in, sort of in a passive way, meaning that they're not having to actively work for it, they get a sign-on bonus
Mhm.
and they make commission that comes from the company, you know, based upon, you know, what this person's, you know, work is doing.
Mhm.
So, you know, you can just, it's just a passive way. And I don't mean, sometimes I think passive sounds like a bad word, but, you know, rather than them actively having to do something.
Right. Right. I think sometimes we also think that if we're having fun at it, right? If we're having fun at what we consider to be our job or our work, and it's making us money, then maybe there's something wrong with that because we're not working hard, right?
Right.
And so it's a block for us to maybe step out and do something fun that might make money for us because we're not working hard. So we can set up our own roadblocks to having abundance and having money by the way we approach it. And again, a lot of it goes back to how we came up in life, what we heard from parents or in our community, in our families. And it's not a right or wrong, but maybe for us it is a block that's getting in our way. And if it is, then how do we switch that up? Right? So what can we say instead of you have to work really hard to make money? It's great to work really hard. There's
I,
nothing.
I think to me, it's more being, I need to be focused to make money.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so it just then depends upon what you're focusing on.
Right. I need to be focused to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Can making money be fun?
Absolutely.
Ah, okay. So maybe it's I I have fun at making money.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a mantra too, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you believe in mantras? Do you have a mantra that you say? Okay, I see some heads nodding and some hands raised, and yeah, and because I really believe that what we tell ourselves internally, what we speak to ourselves, is our truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? And because of that, we create our own world, if you will. We create our own truth because of what we speak to ourselves. Now, are there some absolute truths in the world? I'm not going to debate that. But our own reality is what we speak to ourselves. And oftentimes we speak to ourselves not nearly as kindly as would speak to others. And in fact, the way we talk to ourselves, if we talk that way to somebody else, we'd be horrified, right? Or if somebody else even talked that way to us, we would be horrified. But we allow that for ourselves, right? We allow ourselves to do that. So if we can catch ourselves doing that and we can shift that, how we speak that, then we can really change our relationship with our money as well as our relationship with anything in life. So that works. What we're talking about tonight was how that works with money, but that can work with many things. It can work with our body image. It can work with how smart we think we are, or how our relationships. It can work with any number of things. But for how we work with money, it can be, a new mantra. Just take what we currently think and shift that a little bit to be positive. And it's really great if you write it down. So if you take one belief that you have and write that down, and then consider how you might change that to a positive. So, for example, we just took money that I have to work really hard to make money. Well, I can work really hard. There's nothing wrong with that, but I can have fun, right, at work, and I can have fun making money. So making money can be fun. And do you kind of feel a difference when you say it that way? Making money can be fun versus I have to work hard to make money.
I think one of the biggest things for me, Susan, when you talk about like how you were raised, like what the messages were, was I guess I think of it as like polite people don't talk about money.
Absolutely, right?
And it's interesting because probably like personally, like with friends or family, I don't a whole lot. And I'm sure a lot of it is because of, that thought, whether it was right or wrong. But I feel like it's something that I must talk to people about, like if they're interested in having their own business, you have to talk to them about, how they would make money and how much money they would make, like the specifics of like the bonuses and things. So it just struck me that that's interesting that in my professional realm, if you will, I see a duty to do it, but in my personal realm, well, I just don't really talk about that because it's really not very polite.
Right. It's not polite.
Right.
Yeah. Again, something we've sort of grown up with and told ourselves or been told. And so therefore now tell ourselves, and it's not polite to talk about money. If it wasn't polite, what might it be? But as you say, you have to talk about money in your business in order just to really let people know what the opportunity is and what the opportunity for them in particular might be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had a very similar experience because I worked with physicians a lot in my career, and so when again, you don't talk about money on a personal level, but if you're talking about a contract, you absolutely have to talk to them about how this contract works and how they're going to be able to make money in this contract and how they're going to be able to meet certain thresholds and all that kind of stuff. So we can do it over here in this little niche that we have, but we don't do it in polite everyday conversation, right? But it could be, but it has to be, you have to have a comfort level, but you have to go through that discomfort a little bit first, right? To be able to do that. Yeah.
So another thing I struggle with is service versus earnings. Because as an early childhood educator, it was fun. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
So, but being tenured at the university, I had a pretty decent income, which I decided to leave. And so now the hard part is, having always been in service, now I'm trying to shift to make this business work for me. And it's really easy for me, for example, to say, I'll mail you some samples. I'll give you some things to try.
You just did.
But when it comes to, now would you like to purchase them? That's when I get really uncomfortable.
Right.
That's the hardest part for me.
Because you're putting a value on it, right? You're putting a monetary value on your product, but also on what you do. And in a way that we're trying to put a value in our head. Sometimes what we try to do is we link that up with our own value, right? That's my value. And so how do we step away from, it's the value I provide, right? And when you get truly aligned with that, Mary, you'll be, truly aligned with what your message is, and what your audience is, the people that you will attract them, and what did you do all of your life, right? Educated, right?
Mm-hmm.
You educated,
Yeah.
which, yeah, that's what you do.
And it is hard because you could put, well, not always, because being a first grade teacher, teaching children how to read, that's kind of do, 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 do. And, you know, it's hard to put a value on that too, but
Absolutely.
easier than that than saying, hey, I'm really knowledgeable about essential oils and I can help you. That's even more do, 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 do out there. So
It
it's
depends
hard.
on your audience, though, right? I mean, I'm all into that, Mary. Certain people are, but what you're educating them on is what Sherry just told me, right? And then is not the oils really, but what they can do for you.
Right.
It can help your shoulder pain. It can help your back pain. Hey, this is my education piece. You know, we have sore muscles, and we have, I'm not as young as I used to be, and if I am out climbing hills with the kids, with the grandkids, then I'm going to have a few sore muscles. Yeah, that just is how life is. But am I going to not do it? Oh no, I'm still going to go ahead and do it because I don't want to lose or miss out on that experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the whole experience thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's really hard to do that. So, and I get it. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, Mary, like with how you've helped me, like teaching me about things, I think that your service is incredibly valuable. And, you know, as Susan was talking, I mean, part of it is, I think whatever it is that you're choosing to bring to the table in your business, you have to figure out who your audience is. And not everyone's going to be in your audience. That's okay. But what you offer is incredibly valuable. And I think particularly now, still with us being in the midst of the pandemic, I think that there's a lot of people who probably don't want to, aren't taking the opportunity, like to go to the doctor for their ailments, that would, you know, look to someone like yourself to really help them. And I think that there's a lot of people also who not necessarily, I mean, they want to look at a more holistic way to keep themselves healthy. They don't necessarily want to take a medicine. I mean, you know, like, you know, if I had gone to the doctor, he could have maybe prescribed some pain medicine or some muscle relaxants or whatever, but like, I don't want the side effects of that, you know.
Or the addictions.
Right. You know, I want something that's more holistic and natural. And so I think that the service that you have to offer is incredibly valuable. And when you were talking about like giving the free samples, like visiting with people, earlier on in my business, I did sometimes have difficulty, and I'll see, you know, some of my consultants have difficulty kind of closing the sale, if you will. But I look at it as, I kind of reframed it for myself, and I don't know if this will help you or not. But one of the things that I kept telling myself is, it is none of my business what people spend money on. You know, so if they want to spend money with me because what I have is valuable to them, it's their money. It's up to them to decide. So, you know, I just simply say, so what would you like to start with today? And they either do or they don't. You know, I just give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then when you were talking about mantras earlier, Susan, I try to, you know, and I haven't been like consistent with this, but one of the things that I'll go through periods of time that I'm telling myself is that there's an infinite amount of money in the universe.
Absolutely.
There is not any reason that a lot of it can't be mine. You know, I think that, you know, I don't know how many times I've heard misquoted, like from the Bible, that money is the root of all evil.
Right.
But it's the love of money that is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
And I've run into people in my lifetime, you know, in both careers, that seem to think that having money is a bad thing. It's not, because I always think, okay, so if I have more than I need, I can bless somebody else with it.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's probably what God wants me to do,
Mhm.
So I should, in legitimate ways, try to get all that I can so that I can bless people, my family, my friends, and I mean, I don't know how you ladies feel. It gives me, like that, I suppose it's like dopamine rush or whatever. Like when I can give a friend, and it doesn't have to be anything expensive, but like a spontaneous gift. It's not their birthday. It's not Christmas. There's nothing special, but, saw something that, is really going to be helpful or will really touch that person and give it to them. And then when they're like so surprised, like, oh, they're so happy because they did not see it coming because it's not their birthday. That just really, trips my receptors, gives me a good high, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that we do get caught up, I think, in that. And as Christians, sometimes that referring to that. And I mean, look at David in the Bible, right? He was very wealthy, and yet he was, a man after God's own heart. So it's not having money is a bad thing. It's our perception about our relationship with money. It's about our love of money or our love of anything else above our love of God. But it's our relationship with that. And I think he wants us to have a good relationship with that. I mean, money is just a symbol, right? It's just a symbol of what we can do with it. It purchases stuff for it. It's just paper, right? It has no, if you just had just that, it has no value in and of itself, except that it's printed by the government, and it's been called a dollar or 20 or 50 or whatever it is, so it represents what we can purchase or what we can buy, and in some ways, I think when we got away from the whole exchange of cattle or whatever, that was a little more oomph for us, right? Oh, okay, that's where now we have this paper stuff that we're exchanging, and it's not always even that. It's Bitcoin now, right? So you don't even have to have anything in your hand at all. You can have Bitcoin, and you can just exchange that for whatever you want. So it's just an exchange, and that doesn't mean, but it's still our relationship with that, right? Do we consider it evil, right? Or do we consider it that we have to give up or work really hard and give up our fun or give up our other relationships or something in order to make money? Then it's our perception of how we interact with that and how we deal with that, versus it's just here to make our life better or to help us to get what we want. And to have better relationships, but we can't have better relationships unless we have a better relationship with that, and have an abundance mindset versus that lack mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you said, Sherry, there's enough money out there for everybody, honestly, right, in the whole world. And I struggled with that too for a long, long time. That if I had more, doesn't mean somebody else is going to have less.
Right.
It really doesn't.
And when you were talking about like the cows and bartering, so it's interesting, it came to my mind. So sometimes with brand new beauty consultants, they may be starting their business because they don't have any money and they need money. Yeah. And I've experienced many times where they feel like they're in this quandary of, I want to come to events or meetings, but I have to have a babysitter for my children and I don't have any money to pay them. But if I don't go to the meeting and meet with people, like I'm not going to start earning any money. And so then I'll ask them, because a lot of our consultants will come in and have at least a little bit of inventory. And I'll ask them, so what do you have on your shelf at home? And they'll kind of look at me. And I'm like, well, do you have a mascara? Yeah. I said, so do you have a teenage girl who you might otherwise call to babysit? Ask her if she'll do it for a mascara. You don't have to pay her cash. And I go, you're giving her something that she would like, if she agrees to do it. And the other thing is too, if she likes it, when she finishes using that one, maybe she'll buy another one from you, and then you've created a customer. So you don't always have to exchange actual money. You can trade goods or services. And I don't think a lot of people think about that anymore nowadays, because it is all about money.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Okay, so I deal with media and all different facets of it. And a lot of times now, like even with the economy in the world and the state it's in right now, education is a powerful thing. And so I will teach someone how to run the back end of their social media and kind of like how much it really takes to even do like a little portion of it, to show them the results that they want. But like that barter of explaining, hey, you can actually do this yourself. Do you have 25 hours a week, 25 hours a month to do it? Probably not. Just like I can teach you how to change your oil in your car, but you're probably going to take it in to get it done. And that, I think, creates more of that barter and trade, and gets that, like you said, the mascara for the babysitter, which will return into a customer. I use that motto all the time. Only because we're technically all in sales. We deal with the exchange of money. And when you have the genuine and authentic part of yourself to give something away with expecting no results, but hopefully the commonality of the increase in value,
Right.
It's incredibly powerful. And I've been doing this for a long, I don't know, like 14 years now. So it's always been something for me. Like even when I was a farm kid, if we wanted something, we had to pick up 100 rocks in the field, like none of that stuff was easy. And I came up from nothing, absolutely nothing. And so I understand this is a great conversation to have. I wish more people, like you stated, money is a finicky topic, and people will back away from it before charging forward and taking the directive in a conversation. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome, Whitney. That's absolutely right.
I'm guessing that both Whitney and Mary would probably enjoy Wine, Women, and Wealth, Susan.
I think you would actually. Whitney, now you're in Storm Lake.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So if you wanted, like we are meeting, we'll meet next month in person here in Sioux City at Oscar Carl Vineyard.
Okay.
And then we also meet virtually. The next virtual one, well, actually next week we're going to have a virtual one where we talk about, so Wine, Women, and Wealth is just, as I mentioned, a group of women that we come together and we talk about a book, but you don't have to read the book.
Okay.
Mara just goes through some points, topics in the book, and it's on our perception of money. And the one next week though that we're going over is The Soul of Money, and that's the book I want to read next, because right now it's the one I'm doing is You're a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero, and it's again on people's perception of money and abundance, and how you kind of get out of your own way. And that one, the next one is going to be August. I can send you a link.
I'm really interested in that.
Okay, it's free. You sign up on Eventbrite to get a Zoom link. And yeah, I'll be happy to send it to both of you. Because I think it is. I mean, Sherry, you can come in if you thought. Do you think it's a nice group of women?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I wish I could have stayed longer. I was there on Tuesday, but I had to leave early because I had another appointment, and I really, really would have liked to stay. But
yeah, we're gonna. This was our first one in person, so
it was nice meeting in person.
It was, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So I had wanted to start. I met this gal. I actually met her in India. We were at an ashram workshop thing together, and so I learned a little bit about this. It's something, Wine, Women, and Wealth. There's these groups across the country, and so then I set in on a couple of them when I got back, and I'm like, we need this here. I mean, we need this because all of the women were just like, I don't know, you just get that feeling from people, even virtually. And so I talked to her about it. We were going to start it here in March, and then of course the whole COVID thing happened. So then I said, well, let's just do some virtual with my group our group here. So we started that. And then this month, and then we rolled that into, she's got a virtual group that meets on a Wednesday every month. And then we met for the first time in person this week on Tuesday. And people locally here came together, and I think everybody that participated really enjoyed it. Again, everyone's just really authentic and really supportive. It's not about selling anything to anybody. It's not about, anything like that. It's just about, just kind of like this is. People just women supporting other women. And so, yeah, I'll be happy to send the link out to both of you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
When is the Wine Women and Wealth next week, whatever the event is? What night is that on, Susan?
It's a Wednesday night too, Sherry.
Okay.
Yes, and that's on the Soul of Money. So I can send you that link if you'd like also.
Yeah.
And then I'll send you the ones for August.
Okay.
So you can pick and choose what you want or whatever works for you. So
Yeah, I think both of you, Mary and
have to
Whitney, would
drink?
like that.
I'm sorry?
I said, is wine a prerequisite that we have to drink? I don't drink wine.
No, absolutely not. You can choose whatever you want in your glass. It's wine or a beverage of your choice. So
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of think a road trip is in my future.
I would love to see. And the winery that we hope that she sponsors us here locally, and they have 2 rooms for bed and breakfast.
Oh.
So you could actually stay there if you wanted to, which is a fun little winery.
I actually have one of my team members that we've gotten very, very close. She's here in Cedar Falls, and
Okay.
this is right down her alley. Because again, it's hard being a female and striking out in the business world.
Yeah, it is.
Yep, we need to support each other.
Yep.
Yeah, which is exactly why I started doing this, the Siouxland Small Business Soiree. And I said it was such a blessing in disguise, with the pandemic, that I needed to go virtual, because it's given us the opportunity to have people who aren't just like really local to Siouxland to be able to participate. So,
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing with us tonight, Susan. I really appreciate it.
It was very good.
Yeah.
You did well. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Your ladies are a great group, so thank you. You're a lot of fun.
It's just fun.
Very authentic.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit. I'm going to take the opportunity to just tell you a couple of different things about, sort of off the cuff, about the Mary Kay Foundation. We do have a charitable foundation, and there's 2 causes that the foundation supports. The first is it gives monies to combat domestic violence. And so every year there are several shelters, usually 2 shelters in every of the 50 states, that get a $20,000 grant from Mary Kay. And so it helps them to keep their doors open. And I have the privilege of being on the board for our local women's shelter here in Sioux City. It was called CSADB. It's now called The Safe Place. They just changed the name of that. And we've been in kind of a weird place because of the pandemic. So some of the board members I've not even met, because I was appointed to the board, and then we went virtual. And so we were doing phone calls, not Zooms. So I wasn't even seeing people. But my dream is to do a big event in the Siouxland area, and then to split the proceeds between the Mary Kay Foundation and then the Safe Place. So we were going to do a fashion show in October, and I think that that's not going to work out, because just still, with how much is going on with COVID. So I think I'm going to talk to the powers that be, and I think I want to push that off into the beginning of the next year. So I think that's the most practical, because I don't want it to tank. I want it to be a very successful first event. But anyway, and then the second cause that they support is they have a goal of eradicating cancers, specifically cancers that affect women. And that's near and dear to my heart because of having worked as a nurse and then an oncology nurse practitioner for years and years, many more years than I really would like to admit, because then you can figure out my age. But and so they give research grants to different researchers around the United States every year. And so between those 2 causes, they've given millions and millions of dollars. And we have the opportunity within our business, our Mary Kay business, excuse me, if customers want to donate, they can donate directly to the foundation and we can take care of sending that in for them. Or each time we place an order for Mary Kay products, there's a little box you can click and you can choose if you want to donate to the Mary Kay Foundation and how much you want to donate. And in particular, one of the consultants in our unit, actually it's my daughter-in-law, Whitney Campbell, every time she orders from Mary Kay, you know, to get products in for her customers, she donates at least $1 to the Mary Kay Foundation. So I'm very proud of her for that. But I think it's two wonderful causes that the foundation supports, both of which I feel like I can get behind. And I am an ambassador for the Mary Kay Foundation. So as an ambassador, it's my job, it's my duty to tell people about the foundation. I think a lot of people have heard about Mary Kay as a company, but a lot of people that I talk to do not understand that there's a charitable foundation associated with Mary Kay. So do any of you have any questions about that? That's just really like short, sweet, and off the cuff.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good when like the companies that you work for support the causes that you believe in.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, for me, the company, like its values, its vision are in alignment with what my personal values and vision are. And that I think that makes it so easy to work with the company.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and that's probably what drew you to it, right? Sure. I mean, that's
Yeah,
part
I think, you know, I think the love of the products and then just what I looked at as like the quality or characteristics of the women who typically are in Mary Kay. You know, it's a company that's based on Christian principles, God first, family second, career third. And so that was very appealing to me. So there was, I think, a lot of things, but what lured me in actually, the first part is when I finally figured out that there's that 50% discount. I like a discount.
Everybody loves a sale, right?
Right. Yeah. 50% sale. Hey, you know, like you almost can't afford not to buy it. Oh. Well, I want to thank you all for coming on this evening. And I'm going to check with Maddie. I hope she's okay. And
We'll see about if you heard from her.
No, and we'll see about getting her scheduled back again. And then Whitney and Mary, I'll talk with you about the next soiree. Next month, I'm going to have to pick. I usually have been having it the third Thursday of every month, but next month I can't do that because Mary Kay, our seminar, we're doing it virtually this year because, of course, none of us are, you know, they can't have tens of thousands of us coming into Dallas and be able to socially distance. So we're doing that all virtually, and that's one of the dates for the virtual piece. So I'll be looking at an alternate date. And then I'll let you know what that is. And hopefully it'll work out for you to be able to speak and or participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Susan, did you see in the chat, I put my email and phone number?
Perfect. I will. And Whitney, if you don't mind dropping me your email, I will.
Okay, I'm going to have to turn my phone real quick so I can type that, all right?
If you flip upside
This has
down.
been fun. Again, it's